Hello guys, today we are going to start to talk about how we can use the vectors in C++ programming language. Okay, and so as always we do, we need to give some explanations about the vector class. Okay, and so vectors in CPP, it's a command line in order to give some explanation in here. Firstly, we need to answer this question: what is a vector? Vector is a sequence containers representing the arrays that can change their size during time, or its dynamic allocation storage unit in CPP. But in order to achieve this performance or give these features of dynamic allocation storage unit in CPP, we should use pointers, or in other name, the iterators. Okay, the vector is a STL library, or in the expansion form, standard template library. As you know, in the CPP programming language, we have an addition feature from the C programming language, which means that we can create a template library, and so we can declare any class or any type in CPP programming language, but without a type declaration. For example, if we have any vector class in here like this one, we can declare this class with with the integer, with the double, or with another class. Okay, because the STL has 4 components in the CPP programming language: algorithms, containers, functions, and iterators, and that these are the advanced topics related to implementation of your programs. But you need to understand that the vector is a simple class but dynamic class, and it contains only the iterators or pointers. Okay, how we can declare any vector class in CPP programming language? Declaration of vector variable can be accomplished by using the vector keyword. Okay, it's a class name, and so we can open this smaller diagram in here, and so we can give the object type in here, and then we can close these parentheses like this one, and then vector variable name should be given in here. For example, the vector integer value, and so vec1. This is a simple implementation of the declaration of vector variables in CPP programming language. Okay, how we can use this vector class? We need to add this library, include vector. Okay, and so these are the basic information related to the vector class. Vector class is an advanced topic in CPP implementation programming, and so in order to understand the underlying mechanisms of the vector class, you need to implement all the components in the vector dynamics or the vector functions. Okay, and so we need to create some example in here like this one, example 1, to include IOStream here, include vector should be added at this moment. Okay, and so the every class or standard template library should be given in the std namespace, and so we need to add this rule like this one. We need to give the sum main function in here with the return value of the what? Return value of the 0. Okay. And so how can we create a vector array or vector structure? If you are using the vector keyword in here or class name in here like this one, and so we can give the smaller value in here, and so the compiler tells us the type name ty, allocation and allocator type should be given at this moment. Okay, this is the definition of the template class, and so if we give the sum type in here like the integer, and so vec1 can be given at this moment, and so the vec1 type is the what? Is the vector integer. Okay, but vector double vec2 is a different type of the vector class. Okay, and so vec1 stores the what? The integer value with its pointers. Okay, but the vector2 is the what? Vector2 is the definition of the, is the type of the what? The vector via double values. Okay, and so these are derived from the what? The integer and double, but these are the different types of the what? The vector class. Okay, and so in order to check our program, we need to compile it, and then there's no error in here. Okay, and so this is the first example related to what? The vector class. And so in order to evaluate your code, or in order to evaluate your vector class, we need to go to vector class in here like this one. The template definition can be given like this one, and so the private and public section is also in here, and then the whole function is given at this moment. Okay, you need to use this move constructor or the other vector constructor or the other functions in here. Okay, and so this is the first example in here. The type of vector pointers with the what? With the integer values. Okay, but the other thing is that the double values. Okay, and so we need to move to example 2 session in here. How can we fill the vector? Firstly, you should remember that we can use the iterator like this one. Integers e0, I 10, I plus plus can be given in here, and so vec1 is a class variable, and so it possesses some specific function like this one. We can reach the dot operator in here and so assign, add, back, clear, these are the what? These are the specific function that can be used in the implementation of your code. Okay, and so in order to add the some elements in here like this one, we can use the pushback function like this one. In each iteration we can push the what? I value in here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, blah 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 at the 10. Okay, And so this is a specific array, but it's a dynamic array. Normally we can define this array like this one, integer a 10, but this is a static array. We cannot change its size, but this vector structure is a dynamic array, and so it utilizes the iterators or the pointers, and so we can change its size all the time. Okay, these are useful to create the dynamic array memory location, which means that we can use some optimization techniques in the RAM allocation or the memory optimizations. Okay, and so if we push back the whole diagrams in here like this one, and then we have no error in here. And so how can we reach the vector elements in here? Firstly, you need to understand that every vector element is a pointer or the iterators, and so if we are gonna use, or if we are gonna reach the vector elements in here like this one, and so we can use the auto keyword in here with the definition of the or function of the begin function. What's the meaning of the vec1 dot begin? Begin returns to the vector int iterator type, or the address of, or the iterator of the begin address, begin element. Okay, and so if we have this kind of information in here like this one, and so we can check our algorithm like this one until the vec1 and variable. Okay, and ++ I should be added in here, and so we can use the cout function in here like this one, and so we can take the inside operator in here, and then we can use the anti operation in order to give the some empty space in our program. And so if I'm running this program and then 0 1 2 3 blah 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 9 is written on the terminal page. And so what happens if I using these codes? Firstly, we need to remember that I is only pointer, but which pointer can be used in the vector int star pointer, but it's a manipulation of manipulation of the pointers in the STL algorithms. And so if you are going to use the vector class, you need to define the integer star or integer address or double address or the char address. You can use only this structure with its functions or the variables, and then you can generalize your code in the dynamic array structure without a type declarations. Okay, this is a huge advantage for the object oriented programming language. Okay, and so if we are use these keywords in here, the begin, and we can reach the every elements in the in this vector class or vector variable. Okay, and so what's the type of this I variable? Normally we have the vector class in here like this one, integer, and plus we have the iterator type in here like this one, and so I can also be defined like this one. And so vec1 begin I not equal to the vec1 and I plus plus can be added at this moment. And so we can copy off all of these things in here, like this one. And so we can also give these declarations, okay? And then we can reach the whole elements stored in the vec1, like this one. But what's the iterator? Iterator is a subtype of the vector class or the algorithm class or another class which is given in the standard template library. We can jump this iterator class in here, like this one. The vector iterator is a standard template library which is defined in the what in the vector class. And so it's simply the pointer implementation of the what, the beginning address or the now present address, previous address and the next address, which is called in the C linked list. Okay? And so we can also say that it's the implementation of the linked list implementation in CPP. Okay? But it's highly effective. And so we can use this iterator in order to what? In order to store anything in our class implementations. This is a huge advantage, okay? This is standard template library codes in here and simple codes, but how can we use the non-standard type in the vector class? For example, we can copy all of these algorithms in here, like this one. And so example 3. Okay, firstly we need to define any class, my class, like this one, private, public. And so we can also use the my class structure in here, cout my class constructor, and then we can define the variable in here, like this one, integer my class var, like this one. Okay, and so we can also use the my class printing function. Okay, cout my class var value is given in the my class var. Okay, we can use these declarations in here, like this one. And so how can we create the my class variable in the vector structure? We should talk about it. So we need to add this class in here, like this one. This also is a type, and so we can add a template to the what, to the vector class. Okay, and so if I'm running this code and then there is no syntax error in here, and so we can call these function variables in here, like this one. And so vec1 dot assign or add can be used at this moment. Okay, and 0 can be given, and then we can reach the my class printing function or my class var. Okay, but if I'm running this code and then terminate code after throwing an instance out of range, what's the possibility of this code error? It means that we can create the vector class or iterator things or the pointer type like the linked list in here, but we cannot push the anything to what? To vec1. Okay, and so in order to do that, we need to at least one variable in here, like this one. Okay, and so we can use the new keyword in here my class should be added at this moment. Okay, but the pushback function should be called in here with the what? With the iterator type of these things, because we need to create the my class variable in here, but we cannot push back at this moment. Okay, and so if I'm running this code and then we have syntax error in here, type name is not allowed in here, but we can call this function in here like this one, and so we can create the my class constructor, or we can add the my class variable in here. Okay, and so how can we functionalize this code in order to what? In order to create these my class variables in here. Firstly, we need to add the for loops in here like this one. Auto I is equal to the what? Is equal to the vec1 begin, and I is not equal to the what? Vec end. But in order to do that, we need to also push back the function blocks, and so int I is equal to the 0, 5 elements should be stored at this moment in here like this one, and so vec1 can be pushed back like this code by calling constructor. Okay, and then we can iterate the whole variables in here, or we can terminate this code like this one, and I should be calling in here, and vec1 at I is an index of this elements, and so this is created a my class function in here, and so my class var should be stored with the I variable. Okay, and then we can call this function body in here, vec1 begin I is not equal to the vec1 and I plus plus, and so if I'm running this code in the first place, we should take the I in here like this one. Okay, but I is the pointer of the what? The vector my class iterator I, and so if I'm running this code, we have syntax error in here, because I is not a natural type of these things, and so my class is special class. If I'm running this code with the type of the integer in here, and then there's no error at this moment, but in this case we should give the I pointer in here like this one, and so if I'm running this code begin address or this address, we can call these things. But if I'm running also this code, and then my constructor is always called at this moment. Okay, and so value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is assigned like this one, and so the inside operators in here like this one, the star operator is calling to the what? Calling to reaching the address value or inside value in here, and then we can call the my class variable in here like this one, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then if I have this kind of information in here, and so we can create any class like the storage of the student information, or the storage of the exchange and purchasing the values for a latest some specific company, or the BTC coin, or the dollar or euro account can be what? Can be stored in this class, and then by using the vector notation or vector STL library, and then we can reach out by using the iterators or the pointers in object-oriented programming language. Okay. But the begin and end is not a specific values or specific options in here, because if we have this kind of iterator algorithms, we can search the whole variables at the reverse order. R begin value, okay, and so I is not equal to do what is not equal to do R and reverse and or the begin address, and so I plus plus can be added in here, okay, and so we can use this notation in here, wec1 at I, but at is not a useful information because I is a pointer values, and so I my class var, or we can call the my class printing function in here like this one, and so and the can be added in here, okay, because we can reach the whole variables in here like this one. And then what if I'm running this code, we have the operator endpoints in here like this one, and so we cannot use this iteration variable at this moment because we could not see the printing function in here in the void type declarations. Okay, and so this means that we cannot reach this function like this one, but we can call the function notation in here, okay, and so if I have this information in here, and then we have also a specific notational change in here, because my class printing function is not a cout declarations, it's a cout function already, okay, and so if I'm running this code, and so we have to this function variable in here, because the R and wec1 should be added at this moment, and so if we have this information in here, and then value 4 is added at this moment, and cout and leave should be also added at this moment, okay, and then what if I'm running again this code, and so the whole the constructors are calling in here in order to create the, or in order to fill the some space in the RAM locations, and so the value is assigned at this moment, and so the value 0, 1, 2, 3 is calling like this one, and then the R begin is used to what the reverse searching operation 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is simple by using the iterators or the vector class, but in the C programming language, in the linked list operations, we have a lot to do in order to what, in order to create or achieve this performance or the searching operations, okay, and so this not only the function calling operations in here, and then we can move to the other functions in here. Firstly, we can learn about the size of this vector, like this one. Wec1 size can be calling in here like this one, okay, and leave should be added at this moment. And then what, the size of these operators in what is the 5, because we have 5 elements or 5 class object is stored in this facility. But the size and capacity is different things in the CPP programming language, because capacity returns to the what? Returns to the maximum size of the linked list. For example, size is 5 but capacity is 8, which means that we have 2 more pointers in the vector class notations. And so at this moment, without any change, we can push 3 more objects in here. But if I'm pushing the new elements in here, like this one in here, for example, the 5 12, okay, and so if I'm running this code, and so the size is 12 and capacity is 13. This directly relates to what? The RAM allocation or RAM optimization. And so we cannot utilize or think about how we can implement the capacity of our algorithm, because the C++ gives us an optimized tool to what? To select the whole these notations, okay? And so in order to improve your program, you can use this capacity value, especially in the embedded system engineering, but we cannot taught these things at this moment, okay? And so we can learn about the vector 1 is empty or not, okay? False, and then we can say that vec 1 is filled, okay? Else vector 1 is empty. This is predicate algorithms. Vec 1 is filled, and so it is more useful to what? To highly pointer usage in your RAM allocation, because in our examples we have 5 storage units in here, but in your application this could be 1 million or 1 billion in here, because in the max size of these things should be declared like this one. And so if we can check the emptiness in the vector class, is more useful to what? To act like these things, okay? We can prevent any errors in the dynamic allocation, because the dynamic array or structure is a runtime performance, not a compile time. And so we can always check our code in the what? In the size of this loop, or in the for loop, or the endless loop, okay? And so we can also learn about the what? The max size in here. This is the capacity of our RAM locations, okay? And vec 1 max size is equal to the what? Is equal to the any function in here. And so if I'm running this code also in here, like this one, the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 9, and so 1 billion byte can be used, or 1 million elements of the my class should be stored at this moment, okay? But if I'm using the integer value in here, and so this is so different, okay? Because the vector int value, like this one, the vec int in here, and so we can copy of all of these things in here, like this one, vec int, okay? And so if I'm running this code in here, like this one, and so the 1 billion points should be also added at this moment, okay? But if I'm pushing the new elements to the what? To our algorithms in here, 5 10, okay? And so I'm sorry, and then this is not be changed, okay, because this is the optimization of the our processors or the Windows structures or the operating systems. This not directly relates to what the CPP programming language, okay. And so we can clear all of these things in here, and then we can use the another function in here. Firstly, vec1 clear is a function like this one, and so we can also use the size variable at this moment, okay. If we are clear the whole elements, and then look at this algorithms in here, we can clear the whole function or whole variables in here, and so new size is equal to the what, the 0 value, okay. We can clear all the things at this moment, okay, but we cannot clear right now, and so you can use easily this function in order to what, in order to remove or in order to clean your code, even if you have 1 billion elements in your dynamic array. This is a huge advantage of the what, of the usage of vector class, okay. And so if we are using the vector class, we should remember that we need to talk about the advantage of vector class. And so changing data structure or size is implemented. This is a huge advantage of these things, because we cannot store this every elements in the static arrays because the arrays is a possession of the what, the linear pointer organization, which means that if we have the 1 billion arrays, and so the RAM could not store these array elements, because all the elements in the array structure should be sequence, but in the vector structure it's not, because vector uses or utilize the pointer structures, the previous address or present address or the next address, and so this could be or this can be changed in RAM location structures, okay. And so if we have the what, unknown data, or if we have the unknown size of data is utilized, and so we can use the vector class. And so it's also the vector is a sequential container, but vector is not an index based structure, only a pointer structure, because array is a fixed size sequential collection of elements with the same type. But in the vector structure we can store the class variable when storing the special classes. You cannot use the array structure to store your implementation class like the my class, okay. And so this is all about the main advantage of the vector usage in here. You can or you will search the internet for more examples session about these things, because the vector is a container or the STL library, and so there is a highly advanced tool in order to what, in order to store the variables by using the pointers or the iterators or the reference notations. And so you can use these informations in order to what, in order to create the base information about the vectors, okay. And so this lesson is done. I hope you will learn everything about the vector or container, or in general means the STL library in the CPP programming language, because the object-oriented programming is totally created by the what? By using the STL library, standard template libraries. Okay, and so see you guys.